Hey everybody, quick life update video for people that have been wondering why I haven't been posting as much and stuff like that. So I've been trying to come up with ideas. Like I did some League of Legends stuff and I did some other things like that, but none of them are really conducive to the schedule that I have, unfortunately, because my job is kind of getting in the way. So for those of you that don't know, I do a blue collar trades job where I go around and I work on turbines, stuff like that, and it requires heavy hours because these plants have designated outages, and these outages are happen at a certain times a year and stuff like that. And unfortunately, I can't really even control the schedule because sometimes it can actually be random. But they need a job done in a certain period of time. So what it means is while when I'm off work, I do have a decent for example, I could have like 2 weeks where I'm just not working at all, right? But the thing is, then I go to work and I work 7/12s for like 2 to 3 months, right? So, and that's not an over exaggeration either. It's like typically a turbine schedule will be like I think I've worked 2 months of 7/12s before the schedule dialed down. Now some jobs it goes like 2 weeks 7/12s and it goes to 6/10s for 2 or 3 weeks after you have the turbine tore apart, and then you go back to 7/12s to put it back together. Um, but that's the kind of schedule I'm working. And unfortunately, since I can't control when those happen, and most of the videos I make or most of the games I play are kind of seasonal, it's just kind of like, why am I going to release a guide for something 3 months into a season? You know what I mean? Just because I finally actually have the time to make it. I've been pretty good about at least getting the companion druid one for Diablo done, but it's very difficult for me to like consistently make content that's actually relevant. So I've been thinking about things to do, and ultimately, the answer is I'm just going to have to switch out of this job in order to be able to continue if I want to do a gaming. Because ultimately, I don't really have a passion for for fixing turbines and stuff like that. It's really not me. I just do it because it pays extremely well. So I actually decided to go back to school, go into Full Sail. It's a accelerated course. Every class is a month long. I'm already almost done with the associate's degree, and I'm already starting to look at studios to go work for, or game design studios to go work for. So that's really what I ended up doing, and I've also started prototyping my own game. I plan on that, and I'll release more. And that's pretty. And I'll talk about like more about what my content's going to be in a second. But when it comes to making my own game, pretty much my plan on that is once I'm able to get switched off or in my free time, because I'm currently, in addition to going to class whenever I am off work, I'm self-teaching myself how to use Blender. I've been self-teaching myself how to animate. I've been self-teaching myself pretty much almost every discipline of game design because I'm gonna have to, obviously be a solo dev whenever to get this first game up and going. Now, the idea is I'm going to make the first part, the first part of this game, meaning like the first section. So like, if you were to play a game, I'm gonna make the first area that has a full inclusive story. It's gonna have, like my goal is to put like at least 10 bosses and stuff like that in there to fight all that kind of stuff, where it's like kind of its own self-contained. I'm going to structure it to where it's its own self-contained thing, and I'm just going to call it Chapter One because it's a reasonable work scope for like a solo dev to be able to do. But like for me to make like a full-on what you would expect out of like a AAA game is going to be pretty like, obviously it's going to take probably more than one person to do that, right? So that's going to be a little bit harder to do. But yeah, that's my plan, and then and then once I get that done, I'll release it. If it goes well, who knows? Maybe I do my own thing, or maybe it doesn't go well at all. It sucks. People don't like it, Either way, but regardless, I'm going to be working on switching over to working at a game design studio. I've already been looking at various studios and stuff like that, getting a portfolio and all that stuff together of stuff I've already done, because I've already done stuff in school like make board games. I've animated stuff, made custom spells. I've done a lot of stuff in Unreal Engine, honestly. Like, I'm pretty confident that really, if I just kind of sat down, if somebody asked me to do something, I could probably figure out how to do it. Um, Even if I didn't know how to do it off the top of my head, I could probably figure out how to do it. I made inventory systems, etc., and all that stuff. So I've actually learned a lot in this year, and I still have like another year before I get the bachelor's, but you don't have to necessarily finish the program before you start looking for jobs. So I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna start doing it now. But circling it back to content, I just wanted to give you guys a briefing on that. I will post development updates on that game as I go through it. Right now, I'm just in the early prototyping. I have the whole entire area fleshed out. I have, what bosses need to go where. I have pretty much a lot of the core gameplay stuff on paper. Uh, and I've even started to develop it in Unreal and start to make like the internal game systems like player health and all that stuff, and that's going decently well. But yeah, so I'll end up posting dev updates on that, and as I continue that, because like I said, I am self-teaching myself Blender. So as I start making 3D models, that'll be interesting to share with you guys and stuff like that. As I start making 3D models and stuff like that, that's relevant. I also, when it comes to games, so I am going to try to be able to make a bunch of videos around Diablo season launches, but the issue with the types of games I play is that they're seasonal. It's not like, for example, Elden Ring, where it's just kind of a game people play and continue to play. So, making videos on that, it doesn't necessarily matter when I make it, unless obviously there's like a new DLC release and you want to do it like right around that time or whatever, videos on that. But still, so it's like, I'm going to do my best to get is like around season launches for Diablo to get videos out. However, it might be kind of difficult. So what I'm thinking about doing now is I'm going to start doing some World of Warcraft. I'm logged in here. I'm going to do kind of a returning player thing where I just go through and I'll share with you guys my journey in relearning the game, because it doesn't really necessarily require me to like need to make something in a certain time frame like a guide would, for example. Like right now, if I wanted to make a guide for something, that means I need to have it out very quickly, because obviously there's a billion other YouTubers that are also putting out guides. So you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to. There's kind of like a time frame for certain types of content around these seasonal games, right? And the same thing with Diablo is with Diablo. I think I'm gonna actually. I'm hoping, because the big issue with Diablo for me right now, and the reason why I haven't even played it as much, is because honestly the game is just kind of boring to me, because there isn't like much to do, and the stuff there is to do just feels grindy. Like I really don't like the masterworking system, and like how the in game feels like I'm spending so much time just farming Obdicite so I can go to masterwork and just fail, and I'm not actually doing the thing that I want to do in the game, which is, for example, pit pushing. But the thing is you have, in order to do the pit pushing, you obviously need to have masterworks if you want to go as far as you can. So you have to spend this insane amount of time masterworking, and it kind of drives me crazy a little bit, And not only that, the seasonal themes have been boring for, I guess, last season's. Like the boss powers was okay, but ultimately every single theme is just the same thing. They're not really new. They're not really interesting. The game itself isn't really drawing me in. I've been playing some World of Warcraft, and honestly, I've actually really been enjoying it. That's why I'm gonna start getting some videos out on World of Warcraft about my experience on returning to that, and I'll start making videos. On that, because I am off right now, and I am going to be off for a little while. I don't think I'm going to end up going back to work until September, but who knows? That can always change. You never know what's you never know. You never know what's going to happen. But yeah. Anyways, that's my plan. I just wanted to update you guys with that, because obviously it's been hard. I've been kind of trying different content types and doing stuff like that, trying to find the right thing for right now, but ultimately it's just really hard, because it feels like as soon as I get called to a job, it's just becomes extremely difficult for me to continually make videos. So yeah. I'll see you next time. Thanks.